All right. Welcome back, folks. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. He is Gary Sheffield Jr. This is Yankees Unloaded. And unfortunately, we are coming to you after the Yankees lost to the Astros. So the Astros did finally win a game. I can't count them out for the rest of the year. You nailed it. You said that they would win today. I thought, the pitching performance was to be expected from Blanco. He was very good. Stroman didn't finish horribly. It was the original, like the part of his start early on, got the best of him. I was just pissed that Josh Hader came in and got the save because there is no way the Yankees.
We were just talking about him.
There's no way the Yankees shouldn't have won this game when it got to Josh Hader. He has not pitched well this year. Juan Soto didn't get a chance to face him because Volpe struck out. But tough game today. 4-3 ball game. Yankees are still 25-14. So if you're asking me to panic, that will not be happening. If you're asking Gary to panic, that will not be happening. It's one of those, it's baseball. Happens. Gary saw it coming. Teams are very rarely swept. Gary, you saw it. I'll give you the praise. Where do we go from here?
To be honest with you, this was all Stroman. I didn't think that Stroman pitched a terrible game. For somebody who's staring at the box score, you see 5 2/3, 9 hits. So obviously he wasn't fooling really anybody. He had 4 earned. Defense was fine. 5 Ks. So nothing really to hang your head about. But what was really predictable about this start, in my opinion, was that we came in. Houston has the pedigree that they're not going to lay down. Yes, they're not a good team so far this year. Yes, they've had some injuries. Bregman hasn't got off the mat at all. And even our own broadcast is saying, who is this guy? Like we frankly don't recognize him. But what was so interesting to me about coming into this game, and this was the second point that it actually made me choose Houston today, unfortunately successfully, was that Stroman had 10 walks in his last 2 starts coming into today. So that was troublesome. Now, he had 2 walks today, but when somebody's not commanding their fastball, which if you'd watch those 2 starts, he didn't have his sinker command. He didn't have his cutter command. But that changeup has always pretty much been there for Stroman. That little split finger changeup, it's working. And the one thing I know for certain about Houston is that they swing a heavy bat. When they make contact, it's loud. And I didn't necessarily expect Stroman to be able to pick around the offense the way he has his last 2 starts. I thought Houston would put up crooked numbers if he was walking guys. And I think Stroman knew that. Stroman came into this game. He was much more over the center of the plate. He said, if you're going to score, you're going to have to hit. And when you got guys like Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, when you've got names, Pena, just to name a few, they're going to put the ball in the seats. They did exactly that. They did their jobs today. And that was my expectation. I didn't think he was going to come in here and walk 5 like he did his last start or even the one prior. I expected Stroman to say, I maybe don't have my stuff right now at this point, and it was here at the very beginning, but right now I'm struggling. So I have to get beat by the other team hitting. I can't just have guys walking and then be forced to pitch to a Yordan Alvarez or a Kyle Tucker or a Jose Altuve with the bases loaded. I'm not going to be able to get out of those situations. So I thought he pitched smart. He pitched around the zone today. Like I said, he gave up 9 hits. He's not swing and miss stuff. We all know this about Marcus Stroman, but you have to give it to Strom for actually sticking with this start. He was not great early on, and he actually gave us somewhat of length, and I really like that. We bridged to Weaver, Dennis Santana, and then Marinaccio, who you just said was sent down. Interesting call. I mean, his ERA is 1.42. What are we doing? So,
No idea.
I just thought Stroman had a predictable start today. He wasn't on his stuff, and when you run into guys like the guys Houston's running out, it's going to turn into a crooked number every once in a while, and that's what happened.
Yeah, no, that is what happened. Tough day today. Judge had the nice home run in the 8th inning, which gave me kind of some hope. Obviously, Volpe in the 3rd, hitting a home run off Blanco, which was a big deal. Presley does not want to see the Yankees anymore. I mean, we already talked about this, but first series, Presley doesn't want to see the Yankees anymore. That Aaron Judge home run, that was blistered. That was so far. I got to tell you, I mean, this to me just felt like one of those games that's just like, close but no cigar. And Gary, at no point did I really feel like they were going to win until about around the eighth inning when Aaron Judge hit that home run. I thought that they could rally behind that, but this wasn't a game where I was like, yeah, the Yankees are in a good spot. This was a game where I was like, yeah, the Yankees could win this game, but I wouldn't be surprised the Astros won. And to be honest with
Volpe's
you,
home run also felt like, I don't know.
yeah,
Volpe's homer felt like we banked in a 3 from half court, and then like now we're hoping for missed free throws.
I
That's what it
agree.
felt like.
Yeah, it wasn't the most ideal. Obviously you love a home run, but I don't feel like they really rallied around it or anything like that. Thought Luke Weaver pitched well, Dennis Santana pitched well, and then Marinaccio getting himself into a jam and then getting himself out of it pitched well. So really it came down to Stroman, like you said. It also came down to the fact the Yankees only scored 3 runs. You're going to find a really hard time winning any game only scoring 3 runs. So we talked about that. I mean, their magic number is 5. If they score 5 runs, they're likely going to win 80% of the time, maybe more. I think you said 90. I think I said 85 now I think about it. You said 90. That's how it feels. So when they're scoring 5 runs a game, that's enough where it's like, okay, bad outing from the pitcher, maybe 3-4 runs given up. That's a bad outing for a Yankee starter, by the way. You can
How about
win that.
Ronel Blanco, by the way?
He's really good. Baseball has guys like him that are just popping out of nowhere. And it's really good for the sport. That's all I can really say. I mean, Mason Miller is one of them. I know Skeens, who you mentioned the other day, he's making his debut either today or tomorrow.
Yep, it's tomorrow. But the thing is about Paul Skeens and a lot of the guys around Major League Baseball is that they completely dominate with their stuff. That's just seems to be just the status quo. Guys overpowering. Yeah. He's got 98, 99. Very similar to what you see out of like Abreu, like coming out, who we had like in pinstripes a while. It just here's 100, here's an overhand curveball, power slider. But Blanco wasn't really that. Like Luis Gil style. Luis Gil, here's 100, curveball. But they even said on the broadcast, Blanco isn't anything special. It's here's a fastball. It's going to be commanded. I'm going to prove to you I can throw that for a strike, especially glove side. They mentioned that as well on the broadcast. Yeah, if I can command that fastball down and away, that's what you see out of Marcus Stroman. The reason Marcus Stroman's pitching in Major League Baseball, for the most part, he's got stuff. He's 93, 94. Sometimes he's 88, 89. But one thing's for certain is that he's trying to establish that sinker, that comeback fastball down and away. Once he does that, he establishes that slider. Then you say, what is that guy swinging at? Well, hitters have to make a decision, and a lot of pitchers are trying to tunnel, making one pitch look like another. Well, that comeback fastball makes that slider look a lot more devastating. But when you see guys like Marcus Stroman missing with that cutter away, missing with that comeback fastball, all of a sudden those sliders that he's throwing, guys are just spitting on it. And he knows this. This is not a mystery. This is not anything that was invented when Marcus Stroman began pitching. This is something that's always been the case. Greg Maddux, when he used to throw, you always say, what in the world is that guy swinging at? Why would you ever swing at a pitch in the left-hander's batter's box? That pitch was nowhere near the plate. It wasn't moving towards the plate. But a lot of that is because of a pitch he established earlier in the game. Blanco is a guy who establishes his fastball early. After that, he was pretty much in command. And it gets guys out of sorts, and they don't get off the mat until the game's over. You saw guys like Anthony Volpe, and they were working up in the zone pretty routinely in this game, and eventually it came back to bite him. I thought he played a pretty good game overall, but those earlier at bats tend to set up later, and those good habits tend to be rewarded, and those good habits are something that Yankees pitchers have gotten really accustomed to doing. So having said all that, fastball command is the number one ticket to being successful in this game. You can completely dominate with good fastball command. You establish that you can throw number one where you want it. We've seen it with Luis Gil. Luis Gil gets his fastball out of sorts. Now all of a sudden he's behind 2-0. Well, that 100-mile-an-hour fastball isn't much to major league hitters when they know you're going to be around the zone. But when you get ahead, you become nasty. So they pretty much established early in this game that Yankees hitters are going to be behind the count all day. And it amounted to 6 hits for us. We weren't going to win any games doing that. So you got to tip your cap to Houston. They played the game the right way today.
Yeah, they definitely did. And, we can see here 4-3. Obviously, we talked about that. Looking at this lineup today, I thought for Judge to have that home run, like he was looking at an 0-for-5 day, obviously, if he doesn't get on base there. It just kind of goes to show you right now, Judge, even when it doesn't seem, whatever, he's hitting that home run at the end of the game and things like that. I really like what we're seeing out of Judge. Soto had a tough day because he walked twice, and really he's not going to get any pitches to hit against Houston now. I mean, that's just really what it comes down to. Volpe, good ending at bat. I think you really got to get the ball in play, though. You can't go down swinging there. That was tough. Verdugo is going to be very happy to be done with this series. Did not have a good series. Stanton went 0-for-4 today. Rizzo didn't really do much of anything.
Well, Stanton had 4 punches.
What was that?
Yeah, Giancarlo had 4 punchies today. He didn't put a ball in play today.
Yeah, so
it was a rough day. And I know like one of those at bats, he struck out on a backed up curveball, but when you strike out 3 times already in the game, I mean, you got to be swinging. Let's be honest. You're not going to be able to try and walk your way on base. You got to put the ball in play. And obviously he fouled off a lot of pitches in the zone today. That's really the name of the game. Baseball is not you throw your best stuff and I hit your best stuff. No, hitting, all-time great hitting, and really hitting home runs, and that's what Giancarlo's job is, to hit home runs, is hitting mistakes. Now, you're not going to be able to hit mistakes every day. Giancarlo just did it literally yesterday. But if you really ask Giancarlo, what's the problem? It's that he didn't hit the mistakes. That's something he didn't do today. A lot of foul balls, like I just said. And when you get to 0-2 counts with a guy who's commanding his fastball and guys are throwing a lot of breaking balls, a lot of junk, yeah, you're going to be 0-for-4 with 4 Ks. That's professional hitting for you.
Yeah, pinch hitting for Oswaldo Cabrera was quite the move. He was 2-for-3 today. I don't know.
Weird.
Yeah, I like Trevino, and he's been clutch, and I get that, but that felt weird. So really, going into it, tomorrow, because I mean, it doesn't stop. They already had a day off. They won't have another one for a while. We're going to go here, and we're going to go to the Rays game, which is at 6:50 tomorrow. Love these.
Well, we got Clark on the mound.
Clark is going up against Taj Bradley, who's making his season debut. We talked about the Rays and how they're really not that good. And the reason for that is, well, obviously we know the main reason. We know the animal, I can't even say what I'm trying to say. The elephant in the room. There we go. We know the real reason, and it's Wander Franco. But at the same time, this has been an incredibly banged up pitching staff. So now you're starting to see remnants of what we saw last year, getting back Taj Bradley, who has some good stuff. I like Bradley. I think he's an underrated pitcher.
He's definitely wild, though.
He is wild.
He's very wild. I mean, you're talking about a dude with almost 40 walks in his 104 career innings. I know he pitched last in 2023, but that's the bugaboo. Like Heel, if you can command that stuff, you can be great. But if you don't get credit just for having good stuff. The Yankees have to know what the scouting report is on this game. You are going to make sure that we command the strike zone. We can't make excuses about the umpire, right? Like we can't make any excuses. Guys have to come in having a professional approach, work counts, and take these at bats seriously. This guy has the stuff. You're not just going to come in like we saw Lamborghini 2 starts ago, and you're like, oh, there's 92 down the middle. I'm just going to go deep the other way. That's certain guys in the big leagues. You can have that approach. This is not really one of them. So I want to see Yankees hitters getting ahead of counts and doing damage when they do so. I think if they can make sure they take care of the at-bats early and get themselves in position to get fastballs, get themselves into fastball counts, I think the Yankees can do some damage tomorrow.
Yeah. I mean, I think, we kind of talked about this bullpen before, but wasn't that long ago, Gary, that we were talking about Yankees Rays. It's funny how quickly that's come and gone. So Littell is going up against Nestor Cortez on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sunday is going to be Luis Heel against Undecided. And to be honest with you, Undecided is going to win because Undecided could be anybody. Could be Randy Johnson in his prime, Sandy Koufax. I mean, no, but all jokes aside, tomorrow, 4:10 p.m. Eastern time, or excuse me, Saturday, 4:10 p.m. Eastern time, 6:50 tomorrow. And then Sunday is 1:40. There is an off day actually on Monday. And then they go to the Twins. So I like this series kind of you don't love losing the final game of a 3-game set, but the Yankees, they really, they had a 5-game win streak coming into,
can't win them all. And we want to talk about making sure we take care of this Tampa series, because the team that we're seeing next in Minnesota, they are swinging some hot bats. They are spinning the ball with
they're as good as anybody.
They're as good as anybody, at least right now. Now, at the end of the year, we might be looking at a completely different thing. Hell, in a month and a half, Minnesota might stink, which I told people before the season started. I went on the radio and someone said, "Hey, what do you think about our Minnesota Twins?" I said, you guys are in a bad division. That's one. So you always have a shot. And they kind of proved that they can get outs. They just can. So if they can score runs, get healthy, that's a team that's really struggled to stay on the field. Something that Yankees fans can actually resonate with. Guys like Buxton, they haven't been able to stay on the field whatsoever. But Minnesota's a team that frankly, no one wants to play right now. So having said that, you go into Tampa, the Yankees normally don't play very well in Tampa. So having said that, you got to go show up, take care of business, and set yourself up for success. Because if you go into a Minnesota series and leave with a split, I think we'll all be happy.
Now, Sunday, I want to see Ryan Pepio pitch just for the memes, because Gary is just like, who the hell is
Pepperoni? Ryan Pepperoni Pizza.
Oh, man. Well, I think coming up, the Yankees have somewhat of a favorable schedule against the Rays. Although the Rays are desperate right now. They're 19-19. They're holding on for dear life while they wait for their reinforcements in the pitching rotation. They are going to get, of course, we talked about it, they are going to get Taj back. But they're not. It doesn't look like they're going to get anybody else back in this series. So
they're coming off a day off too. They didn't play today.
Yeah,
interesting.
Very interesting. Could mean rust. Could mean being refreshed and ready to go. The good news is the Yankees have a 3-game series coming up after the Twins against the White Sox. So that you talk about the A's being an automatic win. This should be an automatic win.
We should be beating the brakes.
Are horrible. They're absolutely atrocious. I mean, Mike Clevinger has almost 2 touchdowns for his ERA.
We're retiring this podcast. If Clevinger starts against us and we don't win the game,
he has a 5 whip.
5?
Okay, he's pitched 2 innings. I was like, what the hell's going on here? He's only pitched 2 innings.
He just got farted on in his one start or one appearance, essentially.
Yeah, okay. That's still hilarious, though. 1350 with a 5 whip. I've never seen a 5 whip before. That's gnarly. Then that Michael Soroka with a 6 ERA.
Who is on their team, dude? That's like, what in the 2015 is this?
Chris flexing on them.
What is this team, Jake?
Paul DeJong is the lead.
Do they have Chris Young on the team? The 6'10" dude?
Benintendi's on that team. He has a 194 batting average.
Yeah, and he's making like 13 milli.
Not as funny.
Dude's rich for the rest of his life. He's hitting $190.
Yo, get this. So of all the guys that are on the team, right? I mean, you got guys like Eloy Jimenez, you got Luis Robert, Yohan Moncada. Who do you
And
think
Moncada's out for the year, isn't he?
he is? But you're ruining my thing. Who would you think is leading the team in home runs?
Okay, so I just who do I think is leading the team in home runs in Chicago?
I mean, they got Tommy Pham.
Okay, Tommy Pham just got there, so no way.
It's Paul DeJong.
You talking about Paul DeJong that came from St. Louis?
Yes, he's got 5 homers on the year. He's leading the team in home runs. And who's leading the team in batting average? The guy who's leading the team in batting average that is actually qualified, because Tommy Pham's batting 295,
which
Moncada
he would be,
was batting 282, Corey Lee is batting 273. Gavin Sheets is the only one that has over 100 at bats and is qualified. 262. That's the leading.
Gosh.
It's not great. Gavin Sheets is leading the team in OPS with 809. I mean, no one has anywhere near a 1 WAR. 0.4 is the highest.
Why would they? That's the thing. WAR is not the perfect stat, but I'll tell you this.
No, I know.
Your entire roster has a negative 1.5 WAR, your team sucks. You're bad.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. They're not good at pitching. They're not good at hitting. They can't field. They can't really run. And I guess the most important thing is that they don't have an owner who gives a rat's about their roster. They don't care.
The Yankees have 2 guys with 9 home runs. They have a guy with 8 home runs, a guy with 6, and 2 guys tied with DeJong at 5.
And I had a conversation with White Sox Dave before this season started, and he was like, Gary, we got to get approved for this new stadium over here. And he gave me a plot of land. Why the hell would they build a stadium for this team?
I don't know.
Put them in a
for the Yankees. Juan Soto now is up to 2.1.
What, WAR?
Yep.
Well, yeah, he's the best player as of now. He's the best player on our team. Given the defensive assignment of right field at Yankee Stadium, very easy position compared to center field and left field. And with that light load defensively, Juan Soto, yeah, he should be piling up a WAR close to 10 this year. It's ridiculous to say, but pretty much him and Ohtani and Betts are going to all do the same thing.
No, I agree. Judge has a 1.2, Volpe has a 1.6, Verdugo has a 1, Cabrera has a 0.6, and Rizzo has a 0.6, and Austin Wells
Judge has a 1.2. I feel like Judge can just fall out of bed and have a 1 WAR, I guess.
I know.
He hasn't done anything this year.
Austin Wells has a 0.4.
Yeah, but Austin Wells has also been underrated defensively.
I agree.
I think he had an atrocious error today.
Trent Grisham has a negative 0.4.
Okay.
I'm going to say this as we wrap it up. Trent Grisham is getting dealt at the deadline for an arm. 100%. And it might just be a dismembered arm at this point.
Okay, so let me say this about Trent Grisham. I'm actually a fan of Trent Grisham because I knew exactly what we were getting when we got him, which is a good defensive player who can't really hit a lick, but every once in a while he's going to hit a bomb and you're like, what the hell was that? And he gets Aaron Judge off his feet, because we have to remember that part of his job is to get Aaron Judge off his feet when Stanton has a day off. Stanton has a day off. There's the DH spots open. Judge can now DH. Judge is the DH, and you throw him out in center field.
He won't be here because Jason Dominguez is going to come up and they won't have room for him, and they'll trade him for a pitching.
I actually still have no idea what we plan on doing, because I think we can both agree Dominguez probably should DH at least until the end of this year. And then you just put him out there full deployment next year as in terms of defense.
Well, so I mean, we know that. Yeah, no, I get that. I mean, Jahmai Jones won't be on this roster much longer. We know that because Peraza is actually doing minor league rehab. And I don't know if you saw, he hit a home run in his first rehab at bat. So Peraza will be back. They'll be trying to get him in the lineup and see if they have anything in him. We know that much, right? Then you have Pereira, who will probably get called up at some point, and you have Jason Dominguez, and you have DJ LeMahieu. See what I'm saying? There's just
Are
not a
you
lot of
really that
spot.
excited about Oswald Peraza though?
I just want to see what he has. I don't feel like we got a chance to see it. He hit like, what was he hitting 290 before the playoffs, and then he didn't hit well in the playoffs, or he hit well in the playoffs. I don't actually remember what it was. I know you've never been an Oswald Peraza fan, but I actually do like
It's not a
Peraza.
matter of me being a fan of him. It's more so of, okay, I mean, you're looking at his numbers in 2022. He hit 306, but you're talking about 49 at bats. Then you fast forward to 2023, he hit 191, and that was in 52 games. Okay, 173 at bats. That's a lot.
No,
right?
I get that.
So I'm not saying that like, oh, I don't like him or I don't see what it is to see. No, it's more so of what does this Yankees team need? And do I think that Peraza is going to do anything that Gleyber Torres over the next month and a half won't do? I don't really think that that's the case. I just don't know that there's really
bench.
Yeah, I don't even know if the Yankees really use their bench like that. Like it almost seems like we use a catcher at the end of a game for pinch hit opportunities, and that's pretty much it. Like I don't see much pinch hit opportunity and utility role opportunity on this team. Like almost DJ LeMahieu, what's DJ's role gonna be?
Yeah, I have no idea. And Birdie, he's becoming a favorite for Aaron Boone. Birdie is being used a lot more since he came back from injury. Pinch hit today. Then you have Jahmai Jones, who I think loses his job. So yeah, I mean, LeMahieu would take over for Jahmai Jones for sure.
Yeah, but that's roster spot. But the question is do you believe that Aaron Boone would actually sit DJ LeMahieu down and never play him?
No, I think what happens is, and keep in mind, Cabrera has dropped off a little bit. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking what happens is this becomes a timeshare.
That's so interesting because I actually would not play DJ LeMahieu at all.
Oh, I wouldn't either.
I wouldn't let him touch the field.
I'm against a timeshare. I mean, not saying like buying one, but no.
But that's what you're saying is you're basically predicting that's how they'll use him.
Exactly. I just, if I know Boone, they are going to platoon those two. What they're also going to do is they'll use DJ LeMahieu being back as a way to get Rizzo some days off. They'll have LeMahieu and they'll have Oswaldo rotate in and out of first base.
Interesting, because I feel like Rizzo, he's probably, this might be if I had to give you a guess, I'd probably say that this is his last year in pinstripes.
I've said that. Yeah.
Nothing's for sure. He loves playing in New York. I really like the way he's played, especially of late. He's swinging a hot bat. He's hitting 260. And that's after an 0-for-3 performance. He's hit really well. But I wouldn't feel comfortable taking him out of the lineup so that I can put DJ LeMahieu in there.
But now you would put him at DH. So it's like, you know what I mean? It just gives you different options. Me personally, I don't love Oswaldo Cabrera at first. I don't really like LeMahieu in general right now. It's not anything against LeMahieu. It's just he's getting older and he can't stay healthy. And it's like the last thing I'm trying to do is do what, like when Verdugo was getting hot, Gary, we saw it firsthand. Verdugo's getting hot and all of a sudden paternity leave, right?
Yep.
And the day that happened, the bats just were done. Like it was just like, what the hell happened to our offense? And that was right after Verdugo was not only getting hot, he was exploding.
Yeah, you can't underrate that lefty presence. Maybe one bat isn't enough to be the difference maker, but when you talk about what we've done with this team, look at the lineup. Volpe, Soto, Judge, Verdugo, Stanton, Rizzo. What stands out to you? Righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty. Yeah. That's strategic. We did that on purpose. We all complained for years, 3-4 years in a row. We all complained. Why do we see so many righties? And the solution to a roster spot, I don't care what we do with Jones. We take Jones off the team and we put DJ LeMahieu there. Yeah, that's a really good replacement. But Is it really? Because we know Jones isn't going to play. So DJ LeMahieu, he's going to find his way on the field because of his paycheck. Now,
because of his name,
I completely get it as to why it's happening. Like I think we both predict that will happen, but does it make the Yankees better putting some high priced guy on the bench and then now you feel like you have to play him? In my opinion, it's almost like you added a better player than Jones and got worse, if that makes sense. It's an interesting it's a conundrum, really, is what I'm telling you.
Well, and the reason I bring up Verdugo is that this is what I talk about. When you bring in DJ LeMahieu and he's essentially, he's going to, let's say he plays, I don't know, a week. They give him a week, right? If you give DJ LeMahieu a week and he turns it up and he's on absolute fire, Gary, well, here's the issue. He's most likely going to get hurt again. He always gets hurt. When he gets hurt now, that's going to hurt the lineup. It's not as simple as, on paper, I'll just erase this name and put in another. Doesn't work that way. This is what I'm talking about.
To touch the guys, like in football terms, you got to give a guy some touches to keep him warm. And to your point, if DJ does come out, he goes 10 for 14 in a series against Oakland, and we go, DJ's back. And then all of a sudden, DJ's just in the lineup, and then he gets hurt. You can't just go throw this version of Cabrera out at third base. You don't get that. That's part of the drawback and the give and take of who you decide to play. Now, when you start a guy and you give him big innings, well, that guy is taking the role of somebody else. Like, it doesn't just come from nothing. Like, you are literally giving someone else's job to him because of his paycheck. We have to remember exactly what's happening here. So having said all that, I think the Yankees getting better on the bench presents choices that don't make the Yankees better. And I think that's the actual, the huge takeaway here. And I don't necessarily love that. I think you mentioned earlier that we were going to send, what's his name, for an arm. I don't hate it.
Grisham.
It seems like we have some log jams.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, going back to the Verdugo thing, it explains it perfectly. We saw the offense just didn't have the same rhythm without him. And it was like, I'm in the cleanup spot. I'm in the cleanup spot and hitting home runs and thriving. And then all of a sudden, he falls off a little bit after taking some time. So now he's not in the lineup and now he's a little rusty. I feel like something like that. Like, so when people add like, what do you have to lose? Like, a lot, actually, because you have a rhythm. Volpe, knows every time he comes up, he's got Soto on deck. He's got Judge in the hole. Like, when you start messing with that, you start messing with the flow of that by getting hurt. Now, teams trying to rely on you and you're hurt. It's like, okay, well, now the offense has to like kind of rekindle, and doesn't always work, man. Let's be honest here. Like, the lineup could be fine. The worst thing for the Yankees could end up being DJ LeMahieu coming back and taking over for Cabrera, right? So then Cabrera gets cold on the bench. So he takes over for Cabrera, gets cold. Then Cabrera has to come back after LeMahieu, evidently gets hurt again, and Cabrera's cold. And now he can't get back to where he was. And he's not even hitting 256. He's hitting.
There's a reason why guys like IKF and the Rosarios of the world get paid what they get paid, is because they're accepting ready of those roles. They're ready immediately. If you need a left fielder today, right? Not everybody can play that role, and there's a reason why. Like, a lot of those bench guys that you see having success, the Raul Ibanez and the Nelson Cruz, guys who can just come off the bench and make an impact right away. They're built that way. It's not everybody can do that. Okay. We said it with Austin Wells. We said it with Trevino. The Yankees decided Trevino was the starter. He's playing most of the time. He's earned that right. And it seems like Austin Wells is actually responding well to that decision. I think I like the way he's being as a teammate and the way he's playing, but not everybody's built that way. So we need to be very careful. I'm going to hold out hope that Boone, last thing I'll say, is that Boone's done a really good job of playing guys who are playing well. That's something that, in my opinion, he's not done very well the last few years. He's reverted that. He seems like he's making decisions for himself. He's not blaming the analytics department. He's not saying a guy needs a day when he just hit 2 bombs. No, he seems to be making more sense. So I'm going to hold out hope that Boone makes some sense of DJ LeMahieu's at bats down the road.
I am too. And, nothing against DJ LeMahieu. If he could stay healthy, great. And if he can contribute, make the Yankees a better team, great. I like him. But I just feel like the realistic approach is to not get your hopes up about a guy who's 34 and dealing with injury issues constantly. So those are my thoughts. Obviously, Yankees tomorrow going up against the Rays. We'll see what ends up happening. But a successful series nonetheless. To just assume you're going to sweep every single time is just not really logical. So 5-game series comes to an end. 5-game winning streak comes to an end. But they won 6 straight with the Astros. I feel pretty good about it. I have no complaints. So we'll see what ends up happening. Really good baseball team right now. One of the best in the majors. And, this game doesn't shoot me in any direction whatsoever.
Yeah. That's all it is. Win series. We need to win this series. We're going to play Minnesota. I don't want to play them off of a split or a lost series. We do not want that at all. So let's go win game 1.
Agreed. So guys, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also be sure to follow us on social media at Gary Sheffield Jr., at JK Bogan, and at Yankees Unloaded. We'll be back. But until next time, you guys take care.
And like this video.